If you ever wanted to know why it is called the greatest game of all, last weekend may just be the greatest round, the greatest weekend of this glorious sport, at least that I have ever seen. An incredible weekend. Panthers Eels would have been match of the round in most of the rounds this season, and we aren't even talking about it because Raiders Storm was better. And then Sharks Cowboys was even better, going 93 minutes. And then the Roosters and the Rabbitohs. It wasn't a footy match. It was an all-in brawl. And that is a match we will be talking about for the rest of our lives. Can't wait to see that match in the hype up for next year. We'll never see that type of match again unless it's Roosters and Rabbitohs. But we need to look forward. I don't know if it's even possible that week 2 can live up to the hype, but we shall see. Ladies and gentlemen, the Panthers and the Cowboys, they await. They are both 80 minutes away from a grand final, but it's time to find out who we think is going to play them. The Eels and Raiders go up against one another this Friday night, and then the Sharks and the Rabbitohs. My finals bracket, it was looking good until Valentine Holmes buried the Sharks fans, and now it's in the bin because we went 2 from 4 last week, so we can chuck that out the window. But guys and gals, before we get any more into the video, please smash that like button if you enjoy it. Comment your thoughts down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It is completely free and you can always unsubscribe later. So just smash that button right now. But let's get straight back into the video. This weekend could maybe be the most important match in the Parramatta Eels history since the 2001 Grand Final. They went on that fairy tale run in 2009, but the end of this premiership window could come to a disastrous end by Friday night. The Eels host the Canberra Raiders at CommBank Stadium. For the Eels, Mitchell Moses has been named. I've let my thoughts known on concussions, but if Cameron Murray's allowed to play, then the Eels are well in their right. But for them, it's an unchanged lineup. For the Raiders, it is the same besides Adam Elliott. He looks like he's out with a groin injury, so Corey Harawira-Naera will start at lock with Ryan Sutton coming onto the bench, which will be a bit of a key loss for the Raiders. When Elliott moved into the middle, that's when we started to see this side flourish. However, I'm sure that he won't be a disastrous loss for them. This is such a hard game to tip because the Parramatta Eels have been the side that has ruined tipping for everyone all season long. A lot of people got high on them last week. Unfortunately, they couldn't overcome the Penrith Panthers. Let's be honest, that game was close, and when Moses went off, that was the end of it. If Moses plays, I think the Eels will win, and I think Moses will play. But I still don't know. I've made my mind up. I was going to tip the Raiders, but now that I've hit record, I honestly have no idea who's going to win. The Eels have never made it to a preliminary final. They're now 2-10 under Brad Arthur. While the Raiders, if it wasn't for that disastrous start, they could be in the top 4. They've won 14 of their past 17 games. Wine, Tapine, Papali'i, this core of players that they have. They've proven they can get the job done at this end of the year. Since 2016, the Raiders have either been in a prelim at the least, or a grand final, or they haven't finished inside the top 8. Stats are made to be broken. Something's going to end. Well, not necessarily. The stats tell the story. The Raiders should win this game. Oh my God. I'm going to stay strong. I'm tipping the Eels. If Moses is out, then I'm stating to the public that the Raiders are my tip. But I'm going to have to back the Eels. I thought they would win this game in my finals bracket. Oh, this is such a tough game. And the next one's even harder, but let's stick with the Eels. Look, if Moses is out, I think the Raiders will win. I think the Eels have the forward pack to match the Raiders, which is the Raiders' strength. Tapine, Papali'i, are the best front row combination in the competition. Tapine has been a freak this year. So if the Eels can match the Raiders, and I think Moses and Brown just have a bit more strike than Whiten and Fogarty. In saying that, Fogarty has been in terrific form the past couple of weeks. Parramatta's back, so you could say let them down last week. The Raiders ones really shine. Gutherson, he should be in for a big game because he was kind of poor for his standards last week. This is such a tough game, but I think if Moses plays, the Parramatta Eels, they know this is their last chance. Brad Arthur's job is on the line this weekend because if they get knocked out, they go out straight sets once again. Marnie leaves, Papali'i's leaving then. They're not going to have a shot at winning it next year, so it's the end of an era of this season for the Eels, and this premiership window could have a disastrous end. I don't think it will. I'm going to tip the Eels 1-12. But you know what? Thinking about it more, I think the Eels, there's no different this year, unfortunately. I think they've proven they've struggled in finals, so on the fly, screw that. I'm taking the Raiders 1-12. Just because of their experience, and I think that it's going to be more Parramatta losing it. And honestly, this is just spite because the Eels have ruined my tipping all season. If the Eels do win, then my bracket stays alive. So this way, I'm going to protect myself either way. This one, just flip a coin. The Sharks are hosting the Rabbitohs. The Sharks went 93 minutes. We all thought that there's no way they can bounce back up against the Roosters or the Rabbitohs, but then the Rabbitohs and Roosters decided to try and kill one another, and they only have a 6-day turnaround, so it kind of balances itself out. The Sharks have made no changes. The Rabbitohs, they lose big Tommy Burgess through suspension, which is honestly madness. Tane Milne, somehow he's allowed to play, but let's just focus on the match itself. It's at Allianz. The Rabbitohs have the experience there in that Coliseum. Oh, I've been jealous of the past 2 weeks. I'm going to try and get out to both the finals games this weekend, but we shall see. This is going to be a madness, ladies and gentlemen. I have no idea. And the worst part is whoever wins gets the joy of playing a fresh Penrith Panthers. So obviously, I think we're all thinking the Penrith are going to be in the grand final. This is the hardest side of the draw. Oh, I don't know. The Sharks, look, outside of Hines, Moylan, Finucane, Fafita and Graham, they lack a lot of finals experience, whereas the Rabbitohs, they were in the GF last year. They've all got big game experience at this point. It's such a tough game. The battle's going to be in the halves. The forward packs can kind of cancel each other out. However, I think if a forward pack's going to dominate, it's going to be the Sharks. Toby Rudolph, he's been in magnificent form. Dale Finucane hasn't been as good as he was at the start of the season, but they got Cameron McInnes coming off the bench. The Rabbitohs, big Tommy Burgess, he's probably been their best front rower this year. I know Totola got their award, but I think if Burgess is starting, he would get more recognition. But in saying that, they still got Murray, they still got Arrow. It's really going to depend. I think the biggest factor will be the coaching. How these two coaches can get their sides back up after last weekend is going to play a big role in this game. I had no idea who I was going to tip before recording. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs. No, I'm not. I'm going to go the Sharks. Yes, you know what? Let's stick with the Sharks. I just think the 7-day compared to the 6-day turnaround is going to do them justice. They're both rookie head coaches. I guess Demetrio has the experience of being there under Wayne, but then Fitzy's had it with Robbo as well. It's an incredible matchup. Both these games are so hard to tip. If someone goes for 2 for 2, I'll be just as impressed as if you go 0 for 2, as dumb as that sentence just sounded. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks maybe bring Aiden Tolman in, just for a bit more experience, but in saying that, who are you going to drop out of that side? This is such a tough game to pick. I'm sticking with the Sharks only for the fact of the day turnaround, and I don't want to pick two outsiders to win. In saying that, the Sharks aren't the favourites. The Bunnies are the favourites, at least on Sportsbet. Oh, It's going to be another incredible weekend of footy. I don't think it can top week 1 because I don't think we're ever going to see as good. I mean, I said at the start of the video, it's the greatest weekend of footy I've ever seen. I can't wait though. Let's go at it again. The Cowboys and Panthers are waiting, guys. If you enjoyed the tipping video, please make sure you smash that like button. Comment your tips for this weekend down below. And like I said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It is completely free. And you're going to get all your footy content in the next 3 weeks heading into finals. And then obviously we got the World Cup at the end of the year, which I will do my best to cover. Because let's face it, it's going to be hard to be waking up at 3 a.m. every morning because the games are in England. But before then, let's decide who's going to walk away with the Proven Summons trophy. This time next week, there'll be 4 teams left in the competition, and then in a fortnight, I'll be doing my grand final preview. So subscribe, my tips, obviously, I'm going both 1 to 12. I'm going to go the Raiders, and I'm going to go the Sharks, which is probably the opposite to what a lot of people are going to tip. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.